Travis Wayne Goodsell. After showering and shaving, during showering and shaving, the idea came to mind that after my day of doom and gloom, because I found out that the court pretty much closed, that all cases are postponed until after coronavirus and May 1st, which is the anniversary of the Illuminati founding. And so, as I was pondering over the doom, and I got the idea in my head from the Book of Mormon of a particular scenario that is in the Book of Mormon. And so then I sat down and wrote as many scenarios as I could recall from the Book of Mormon as to what may happen during Armageddon. And if you aren't familiar, we're in Armageddon. It's caused by man. Christians, South Korean Christians specifically, who adopt the Book of Revelation as their main scripture. But evangelicals here in the United States help to put in the king that the Book of Mormon warned not to put on the throne. But not that they had any choice in the matter either, as the whole election was rigged. We were set up. But what do we do now? As the signs have all occurred in the heavens, and more signs to come, as I've been telling you, on April Conference weekend, Nelson will be speaking blasphemies and satanic doctrines over the pulpit. Tomorrow I'm going to prepare a special video to follow up about the news report that Nelson's holding a special fast this Sunday, tomorrow. And all Mormons know that you don't just fast, you gotta give money. And so I've got to do some work on that one. Got to do some editing of some video clips, and hopefully I don't leave stuff out like I did in today's video. But let me go over the scenarios, and then then the last one here is the one that gave me hope. The first one is the Ether, Moroni, and Alma and Amulek scenario. If you're familiar with those stories, Ether was the last one of his people to record the complete destruction of the Jaredites. Moroni was the last person to record the complete destruction of the Nephites. Alma and Amulek were the last ones to survive the group who were captured by the I don't think it was the Lamanites. I think it was the priests of Noah who had escaped and then caught them again. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, that was the scenario. But whoever held the people captive, as Alma and Amulek were forced to stand by, and Amulek says, "Alma, why don't we raise our hand and stop this by the power of God?" And Alma says, "No, we need to bear witness of the crimes committed against the people." And so they watched as the people were burned to death. And so that's the first scenario of destruction of the people and remaining survivor to record the destruction. The second one is New Jerusalem, America, gets taken over, and then natural disasters occur. Right before Jesus comes in the story, as he makes Nephi the millennial Christ instead. Jesus doesn't stay. He hands it over to Nephi, who becomes the millennial Christ. That's significant. But again, he says, where are the records? So again, you can see records. Record keeping is involved throughout the Book of Mormon. And he says of Samuel the Lamanite specifically, because he had records, and he says, well, wait a minute, no, I prophesied through Samuel the Lamanite. He talked about signs in the heavens and other prophecies. Where are his records? And so that's the next one, is a government takeover, and then natural disasters destroy the land. Then we have the murder of Christ. You didn't know that, did you? And then the people murdered, laid waste. The land laid waste. That comes from Abinadi. And so you have to understand that Christ is Greek for anointed, the anointed one. And there are many Christs. Anybody who's anointed becomes a Christ. And so King David was a Christ. Thus, Jesus, in the gospel narratives, was supposed to be the restorer of the kingdom of David, thus becoming a Christ. But everybody wants to say, he's the Christ, the only Christ that ever was, there was no other Christ, just Jesus. No, there wasn't. There were many Christs. And so the murder of the last days Christ, and America destroyed, laid waste with destruction. Which in that particular scenario, it was the Lamanites who came in and just utterly slaughtered everybody. And that also, well, there was no murder of Christ in that one. Alma got away, but the Zoramites persecuted the poor among them after they built their synagogues. And this is what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow. The money of the Mormons pay for the building of the churches and the temples, but because they're now poor, after giving of their money, they are denied entrance into the temples to worship. And under Armageddon here, the church is all closed. So we're living Zoramite scenario. In that one, there is no death of Alma, who represents the Christ in that scenario. And he warns the people, hey, here's how faith works. Faith without fruit is dead. And the wicked Zoramites were left behind as Alma took the poor Zoramites who believed in him away, and I think they were the ones who got murdered in that other scenario. Yay! And so that's the other scenario, is that Moses leads a group out of Utah and then get captured by the military of the Americans and then get destroyed by the Trumpites. Yay! Alright, so the next scenario, number 4, is the wicked king is converted and frees the people of Alma in this particular scenario in the Book of Mormon, and by Ammon, who had converted the king of the Lamanites. Ammon's the one who went in, became the slave to the king, and rescued the flocks by cutting off the arms, which was symbolism. But then he talks about the Great Spirit, and oh yes, that is God, and he had to bring him back into a correct belief of God, away from the false belief of the Great Spirit. And so that's the other one, as he says, my people, it could have been Aaron rather than Alma in that particular scenario. I think it was Aaron, because there was Alma, Aaron, and Ammon. So it could have been Aaron, who had been captured by the great king of the Lamanites. And so the king of the tributary king of the Lamanites was converted by Ammon. And then Ammon then said, if you can do me a favor, though, free my people, captured by the major king. So that could be a governor rather than the president. And then we have, so that could be Governor Herbert in that particular case, that scenario. That's not likely to happen. But it is one of the scenarios presented in the Book of Mormon. Then there's the Title of Liberty scenario. Oh yeah, Captain Moroni. Yeah, I know that one. Yes, Captain Moroni. The Kingmen, or Captain Moroni, was battling the Lamanites to protect America, and the president, it was the chief judge, Pehoran, is back at the Capitol, and he's refusing to give aid to the troops of Captain Moroni. And so Moroni gets mad and writes a letter and says, where's the funding? We need funding in order to fight this war. And then eventually Pehoran writes back and says, oh, thank God you're alive. We're under attack by the Kingmen, trying to replace me with a king on the throne. And so that's the Title of Liberty scenario. That's what Joseph Smith was preparing for before he was murdered. That's where, the Constitution will hang by a thread, and the elders of Israel will step forward to save and rescue America from the kingmen who want to put a king on the throne. And that failed. So that one's not going to happen. And so here's the other one that I thought of that gave me hope. Right in the beginning. This is the very first one of the Book of Mormon. Lehi. The Babylonians come in, conquer Jerusalem, put King Zedekiah on the throne, the puppet king. And then there's a space of time. But prophets come forward, like Lehi, and warns the people, hey guys, we got to do better. We're still under attack. The Babylonians are coming. The Babylonians are coming. 2 if by land, 3 if by sea, or was it 3 if by land, 2 if by sea, or 1? And so the Jews living in Jerusalem at that time refused to listen to the prophets. They arrested Jeremiah, locked him up, and threatened to murder Lehi. And so Lehi, sleeping one night, gets a dream. Leave. It's time to go. they're wanting to kill you. And so he leaves, takes his family, and he leaves. And then, of course, it then goes into another story, which I think can correspond with the dream scenario, because Lehi, after living at the top of the Dead Sea for a little while, gives birth to Nephi. Yeah, gives birth to Nephi at the top of the Red Sea. And so Nephi was not the one who left Jerusalem. Read it again. Nephi is talking. He's doing an abridgment of the record of his father Lehi, and says, and Lehi took his family, which consisted of, where's Nephi? Not there. And so then he concludes with saying, and my father dwelt in a tent. And then he says, I, Nephi, being exceedingly young and large of stature, blah, blah, blah. So that was your clue, and all Mormons missed it. And so then Nephi grows up, and then around 10 years old at the latest, because it was 11 years until the Babylonians came back. So if Mormons are going to still believe that this is a real history, Nephi at the oldest was 10 years old when he impersonated Laban and slew him as a drunken man. And so keep that in mind. But Nephi is the one who is transitioning into the Christ, as he's the one that's starting to get revelations instead of Lehi. But Lehi nonetheless says, I had a dream, my sons need to go to Jerusalem, get the plates of brass, record of the people, and also the religious record. And then they also get Ishmael's family, so that they can replenish the earth. You know, the Noah story. Noah replenishes the earth. Adam and Eve fill the earth. Little mistranslation there. But that's the dream scenario, where at some point in time I may get a dream telling me it's time to leave Utah. They're already trying to kill me. I've been talking about how the lawyers have sent me a death threat because they're not happy with my lawsuit. But coronavirus has postponed it. And so Mormons, I mean, they're still doing the thumbs down. They're still getting angry at me. Mormons are pissed and want me gone. They want me controlled, and if they can't control me, they want me gone. And attempts were made to have me evicted, and I've got nowhere to go. The streets is where I'd go, and I can't stay on the streets. When my dad kicked me out of the home, when my first ex chose her move to leave, I planned to walk south. I was just going to head down to the pyramids, down in Central and South America. My life was over. I was having visions of dying along the road on the way down, and so I expected that was it. Made it to Nephi when a highway patrol chief was doing his regular patrol route, saw me walking, pulled over, and and said, "Hey, you can't be walking this freeway." I had to get in the car with him. He was taking me back to the station and telling me about the latest April conference and trying to share his testimony. And he had the six-pointed Jewish star as his badge, and he realized that I was too my countenance was too bright. I wasn't like the typical vagabonds, and so he forced me back with my parents, as they confessed that Stephanie confessed that she was the one who was physically violent towards me, and in our in the presence of our two children at the time. But they still didn't care. They weren't changing. They had already made up their mind about me. So even after they learned the truth, they still, unbelievable. They still went and lied in 2008. And so, but yeah, if I were to be kicked out of the house today, I would just go east. Get out of Utah. That's what I do now. And of course, now that I've said that, my parents wanted to know where I was after being called by the cops. "Oh, we had no idea he left. We are so concerned. We don't know what happened to him." And just lie. So, yeah, and this time I wouldn't go south, I'd go east. But I'd have to walk, just like that last time. And so, yeah, if I get the dream, I don't know how to, I don't have a camel. I can't pack up all this stuff and load it on the camel. I'd at least take the records with me. I didn't get them digitized like I wanted to, so I've got a ton of books that are essential to take with me. But I got a little cart and crates to use as compartments for everything, and the straps to strap it to the dolly, to the cart made out of the dolly. But that's a scenario that gave me hope, because throughout my life, ever since '86, I started having prophecy dreams, and so that's why the big dream of '86 was the big one. And then I had a follow-up that same summer, and I found out later those were prophecy dreams. And ever since then, I've been having prophecy dreams every now and again, letting me know something's up. So even that I was moving here was a prophecy dream. And that was where I thought that I had to, I was trying to find another place to live, trying to escape from my captivity. Now that I was free from the major captivity, they still, in Utah, they still try to hold on to you. They don't want to let you go. They don't want you to have your freedom here. It's so frustrating how evil my own people are. They don't care, and I see it in the footnote, or the thumbs down. They're just so evil. They want to control others. They want to control their lifestyles. They want to control what they do, when they do it, and how much they get to do it. So that's with the food thing. That's why the grocery stores aren't prepared. They're purposely selecting the food that we're allowed to eat and not eat. They're selectively telling us, hey, don't be wasteful on your sanitation. 2 weeks in a row, no sanitation. I mean, it's just unforgivable what they're doing to us. This could have been run so much easier, so much simpler, so much better, but they just don't care. They're causing the problem, escalating the virus, when we could have had it stopped at the cruise liner. It would have stayed there, never gotten to America. As the rest of the world got it, we could have shut it down. Done immediate screenings of anyone who entered into America from the outside or trying to come through the borders. Real simple to do, but they purposely let it in, and they purposely let it get out of control. Because this was their opportunity. And so, I hope the dream scenario is it, because he and I know that I am paying attention in my dreams. And if you're not paying attention to my videos, I've been having some dreams the last couple of weeks. The one with the dragon ring, and the other one of two girlfriends, as I'm confused as to which girlfriend I'm supposed to have and not supposed to have. So, but I worry about the victims here in Utah. Those who are slaves in Utah, who put their trust in the church, and who don't know how to get that connection, so that if somebody comes along and says, hey, it's time to go, they know to trust that person and go. Give up everything of non-essential existence. Take only what's necessary, including the records, and go. Because I don't. If I get this dream, I'm not going to be posting. I'm gone. And it's going to be a tough struggle, as I'm going to have to select what goes and what stays. I'm going to miss my recliner. And my game. Got to take my game. I can stack the cart only so high, and then I can have a backpack on the back, backpack on the front, and carry-on or the over-the-shoulder bags. I'm used to heavy hike and backpacks. They told us not to bring canned goods. I brought sodas and canned foods. got my shoulders real buff. Women who wanted to massage my shoulders all noticed that I was very tight. Alrighty. So it's interesting how the Book of Mormon was thinking ahead of the different types of scenarios that would be possible. But none of them are a peaceful transition into paradise. All of it has the enemy coming in and causing problems, causing destructions. Alrighty.